How's it going, everybody? Welcome to the Positive Mindset Podcast, where we come together to raise our vibration, lift our perspective, and build that positive mindset. My name is Henry, and I'm so thankful to have each and every one of you here today because in this episode, we're going to talk about how to take your power back and control the energy within you. If you want to feel love, if you want to feel joy, if you want to feel abundance, whatever it is, in this episode, we're going to talk about how you do it. But before we get started, we're going to take a few moments to slow down, zero in. We're going to take some deep, healing, meditative breaths to help us align on the frequency that we want in our lives. So pick a word. It could be love, joy, happiness, abundance, whatever frequency you want. And we're going to take a deep breath in. And as you're breathing in, you're going to say this word over and over and over again. Really charge yourself up with that energy. And then as you're holding your breath, visualize yourself doing something in that frequency. And once you exhale, anything that no longer resonates with you will leave you and you'll be in a more positive state. So let's go ahead and take a deep breath in. And out. We're going to take another deep breath. This one's about alignment, about getting ourselves in receiving mode so that we can receive the message that we need to hear to get us in that positive state. So just imagine that you are surrounded by the most healing, uplifting energy that's meant specifically for you. It could have a certain color, a certain taste, a certain smell, however you imagine it. And when you breathe it in, it's going to charge you up. It's going to break down the negativity, the blocks, the weight, everything that's just been holding you back. And once you exhale, anything that no longer resonates with you will leave you and you'll be in a more positive state. So let's go ahead and take another deep breath in. And out. Well, before we get started, if there's something that you enjoy or you take away from this episode, if you're on YouTube or Spotify, you can actually leave a comment below. Not only does that help me know what resonates with you, but somebody else might read your comment and might inspire them to give this episode a listen. I want to make this the #1 mindset podcast in the world, and the best way to do that is together. So whether you leave a positive comment or you share this podcast with somebody, it means the absolute world to me, and I could never thank you enough. But let's go ahead and dive into today's message. So this is the most empowering thing that you need to understand. Now, it's a gift to understand this, but it's also hard to accept. And that's everything is a choice, including your internal state. You see, something can happen to you, something difficult can happen, something painful, something good. All of that can happen externally. But the way you perceive it is a choice. You can perceive from your current state, or you can perceive from your higher self. That's what a positive mindset is. You see, a positive mindset isn't about being happy. It's positive because it's close to love. The closer it is to love, the more positive it becomes, and the easier it is to see beyond self. If you imagine yourself sitting up or standing, just, you think about you, and then you think about your head, your eyes. This is your current perspective. That's seeing from self. The lower you go, the more deeper into the ego you're going, the more about how it affects you becomes relative. And then the higher you go, beyond the mind, above the body, more positive towards love, towards the heavens, towards God, towards the universe, whatever you want to say. The higher you go, the further you separate from self. When you separate from self, you can see beyond the current moment. When you separate from self, you can see beyond how it affects you. When you separate it from self, you can see beyond even the people or things that are causing it. You can see the entirety of something. This is how a bad thing can be a good thing. Maybe something happened to you, something difficult, something painful, something traumatic. Could have been when you were a child, early adult, or even recently. Something just really, really bad. Nobody would call that a gift. They would say that's torture or painful or hate or whatever. It would never be a positive word that would be used to describe the terrible thing that happened to you. But what happens when that happens to you and then you go through it? You heal from it. You start to expand. You actually take lessons from it and realize how strong you are, how forgiving you are, how loving you actually are, and you become this bigger, higher version. You see, if something negative happens, the opposite of that is possible as well. If a -3 happens, a +3 is possible for you as well. So if you do that, if you raise your energy because of the bad thing that happened, if you level up, if you forgive, if you become at peace, you become this healing ball of energy from the bad things that happen, and then you meet somebody. This may be a few years later, may even be just a couple weeks later, but you meet somebody that is or has gone through the same thing, but they're still stuck in the pain. They're still stuck in the trauma, the hurt, but then they meet you. You get to know them, you start talking to them, and they start to understand, and you start to share how you healed, how you grew, how you became the version of you that you are now. Well, that information, that energy exchange that you're giving them is a gift because they receive it and it allows their life to improve. So it's a gift. Well, if it's a gift to them, then it has to be a gift in the beginning because you were allowed to give the gift. So that's how everything is not just one thing. So you can have something happen to you and you can feel the negativity of it. You can feel the pain, you can feel the hurt, and you can choose to be that, which is what most people do. Or you can choose the higher perspective and you can see where that pain can lead to. You can see the darkness that's there and then the light that can be created because of it. You see, we are expanding the love frequency. We're expanding love. The universe is always expanding. That's why we're here. That's our purpose, to be the rising tide, to expand this good energy. And so when darkness is created, when there's a dark experience, a dark area, and then somebody goes into it, including yourself, when you go in there, and then you learn to create the light that lights up that darkness, you are now learning a new form of love. You are now learning a new expansion of positive energy, a new expansion of light. That's what happens. So you expand into that, and guess what happens? You created a new form of love, a new form of light. Extremely powerful. That's why even the dark times, even the hard times, even the hurtful times have an opposite side of that is positive, good, and love. So every bad thing, every difficult thing is not bad or good. It just is. What you decide to do with it, what you decide to perceive what it is, allows you to change how you feel. You see, it's a choice. If you operate with the mindset that everything's happening for you, and it's not happening for you to receive something, it's happening for you to become something. When you operate with that mindset that this is happening for me to grow, this is happening for me to learn, this is happening for me to heal, this is happening for me to be an elevated person that can help others, this is happening for me to expand. Whatever it is, when you start seeing it from that perspective, you will start feeling well within. There are people that feel empty on the outside and empty on the inside. There are people that feel fulfilled on the outside and empty on the inside. So the external does not affect the internal unless you allow it. You get to choose the frequency within you. You have that gift. You have that power. In fact, you have that responsibility because the energy within you is what you emit to the world. Your perception, how you perceive, is how you receive. So if you're seeing the negative, you're bringing in the negative, then guess what? That's what you're going to see more of in the world, and the cycle will continue for you. But when you start taking negative things, painful things, hurtful things, and seeing the good in them, seeing the silver lining, seeing the growth opportunities, seeing the expansion that's available to you, guess what you start seeing in the world? The good, the love, the expansion, the healing. You start seeing it and receiving it. You have the choice. You are gifted with that gift to choose who you want to be. And that's rewarding. That's fulfilling to know that every day, even when life is hard, in fact, life is hard for everybody. It's different difficulties. I know some people have it worse than others. Sometimes it's not even measurable because of the pain and hurt someone might go through with all the things that are happening in the world than somebody else's. Somebody might grow in a very nice neighborhood, but they still have negative energy within them for whatever reason. And someone might go through, a war area or extreme pain or extreme poverty, and they have that negative energy within them too because of what's going on. It doesn't change the fact that it's still a choice to feel that way. There are people in poverty that operate with inner peace within. There are people in the most success, riches in the world and can't even truthfully smile because they're so empty within. The external world does not control the internal. It can affect it. It does for most of us because we give it that power. We don't spend time in self realizing that we are the creators of the experience and we observe and create. So whatever we observe, we create more of. Why do you think the powers that be put the negativity on the news, constantly pumping it out in movies, constantly putting out in music, because then you focus on it and you create more of it. If you create more problems, then that creates more opportunities for them to solve it with their solutions that we fall for. There's so much power in your observation. Find the good in the world. Make that choice. Find the love in yourself. Make that choice. Rise up and become the rising tide that lifts all ships. Well, thank you so much for listening. I hope this episode was impactful and gave you a positive perspective on the power that you have. If you want to make sure you don't miss a single episode, make sure you subscribe to my email list. There's a link down below. It'll keep you up to date with every single episode. And if you want to follow me on social media, there's my Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook group, all down below. So I appreciate all the follows there. And if you're ready to level up, if you listened to this episode or many in the past and you want to take that next step, I have 2 ways that you can do it right now. Of course, there's still one-on-one training available. There's not that much availability in that, but if you do want that one intention, I do have a couple spots available. But I also have my group Freedom Fundamentals. Freedom Fundamentals has the coaching aspect. There's different levels. So if you want that mindset piece, that's there. But if you want to learn how to step into your wealth, really build that money energy, we do talk about real estate in there. So if you have questions or you want to know more about either one of these programs, Instagram is the best way to reach out to me, or the link down below. I'm going to be working on getting back to all of you. There's been quite an outreach on there, and I realized there's some that I missed even from a couple months ago due to an error, and I just didn't see the leads in there. But I'm going to be following up with all of you in the next couple days, so I'm looking forward to hearing back from you. But I'm happy to talk to you, love to connect, and can't wait to talk to you next time.